Hi, hello, everybody. I'm Justin. This is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about Saturday night's main event. Saturday night's main event happened yesterday, and what a show it was. Let's break it down. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the presentation. They did an excellent job of making this feel old school, of making this feel nostalgic without losing a lot of the presentation, without making it look bad. I loved the referees using the old outfits. I loved the old school WWE logo on the turnbuckles. I loved the red, white, and blue ropes, the narrow entrance path, the graphics, the music, everything felt super nostalgic. And honestly, today a lot of the nostalgia goes back to Attitude Era stuff, because that's what we grew up with. And a lot of the older stuff, a lot of those guys aren't around anymore. We don't revisit that era too often, so it was nice. It was nice to have Jesse the Body Ventura there. And they said 39 years since he had been there. He didn't miss a beat, man. He was informed and on top of every storyline there, of every wrestler there, as he was talking about them, breaking the matches down. Him on commentary, he had chemistry with Michael Cole. He had chemistry with Pat McAfee. It was great. It was absolutely great. So it wasn't quite a PLE, right? It wasn't a 3-hour format. Plus sometimes they go a little bit longer. It was a 2-hour show, so it was like a TV special, right? I mean, and that makes sense. The history of Saturday night's main event, if I'm remembering correctly, and I could be wrong because I didn't double check this before making this video, was NBC originally, way back in the day, wanted some sort of special content because SNL was going off the air for a week, and that's kind of the origin of it, right? And so this was along those same lines. It was a TV special, not a full PLE. We still had 5 advertised matches. My only sort of complaint was because they were restricted on time, they all felt a little bit rushed. Some more than others. They felt a little bit rushed, but they gave us really big matches. I mean, we had championship match, championship match, championship match. These were huge. And all of the performers did a really good job. This was one of the better events of the year, in my opinion. Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn started off, and it was a showing for both of those guys. I mean, they're both excellent. And Drew McIntyre in particular needed to sort of avenge his loss, not to Sami Zayn, but from CM Punk, right? Losing the feud. He needed to sort of come out strong, sort of hold on to his place as a top guy, because that was sort of a big loss. That feud was a big loss for him. So he came out, he made a statement, exactly what he needed to do. It played out perfectly. Would it have been fun to have, a few more minutes in that match? Sure. But it was such an emphatic defeat that you can't even really see them revisiting that anytime soon. It feels like Drew McIntyre going forward goes through Jimmy Uso, goes through Jey Uso. He works his way through the OG bloodline, maybe back to Roman in a couple of months. And it sort of feels for Roman, it sort of feels like the the walls are closing in on all sides. Because everybody and their brother is feuding with somebody because they once teamed with Roman Reigns. So he's going to lose all of his allies. He's going to lose all of his allies pretty quickly. But that remains to be seen. That's only if they continue in this direction. Either way, I think it makes for some really interesting storytelling. We also had a championship match between Liv Morgan and Io Sky. It was a really fun match. We didn't have to deal with Raquel. We didn't have to deal with Dom. Dom's a little bit more palatable than Raquel, in my opinion. He at least brings, heat to the match. I don't think Raquel really does. She tends to sort of kill Liv's heat. But we didn't have to deal with either of them. They were just on the entrance ramp. Then they went to the back. Liv won this clean. She had a really good showing. Liv Morgan, Michael Cole called her out as potentially superstar of the year for 2024, and it's hard to argue. She has had a hell of a year. I mean, her year rivals Rhea Ripley's year last year, right? Um, she's a hell of a year this year, and even in such a short span as champion, you've seen her grow and develop as a character, as a performer. Um, so huge fan of Liv Morgan's. Been following her journey since the early days in NXT. Back when I used to watch NXT, and just absolutely so incredible to see how much she's grown, even just these past few months since being champion. Io Sky, one of the greats. She's so smooth. You hear it all the time as people talk about how she deserves so much more. There are a few moments, and in this particular matchup, but I've seen also in a few others. I mean, she did it in the War Games match. She did it a few other times where she'll be, going at such a fast pace that she'll slip up somewhere or do, but, she moves right through it and you don't even notice it unless you're looking for it, really. So that's a testament to her and her performance as well, Io Sky, for sure. But as far as the storytelling goes, after the match, Rhea Ripley came out. They had a little stare down. Io Sky was never going to win. Everybody knew that. Rhea Ripley was the main feud. Liv Morgan can kind of bring her attention back to Rhea. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I've mentioned it before in a few of my videos. What I want to see at this point is one more big match against Raquel, right? Put her out, take her out, get her away from Liv, right? That you have to make it so that Liv is going at this on her own because of how frequently the interference wins her the match, right? So if you're Rhea, you need to get rid of Raquel. I would have thought the Riptide through the table would have done it, but apparently not. Give her another match, maybe at the Royal Rumble or the Raw debut on Netflix. That would probably be better. Have her take out Raquel, put Raquel off TV for a little bit again. Then she maybe wins the Royal Rumble. If not, she faces Dirty Dom. That intergender match. We need it. We want it. Give it to us. If she enters the Royal Rumble and wins, she can have this match at Elimination Chamber. If she has this match at the Royal Rumble, she can enter the Elimination Chamber and win that. And then she can face Liv at WrestleMania. She can take her title back, and they can both move on to other feuds. Just a few more months to WrestleMania, and if you do this right and you sort of switch the focus off of Liv onto Raquel, onto Dom, as part of Rhea's master plan to get rid of that, interference, it really could work. The feud needs to evolve. It doesn't need to be finished. Everyone is, kind of talking about how it sort of overstayed its welcome, but it needs to evolve. Alternatively, you could have her take out Raquel, then take the title, then switch her focus onto Dom as more of her main feud going into WrestleMania, because it was Dom turning on her that allowed Liv to have all this in the first place. So you have a couple of options with the way you tell this story, but Rhea Ripley should absolutely, realistically go through all three of them between now and WrestleMania, finishing at WrestleMania, coming out the Monday night after, and there's a new opponent waiting for her there, kickstarting a new feud that Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, moving away from the Judgment Day, away from Dom, Liv, and Raquel. Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Another match last night at Saturday night's main event was the United States Championship match for the first ever Women's United States Championship. And that was also a pretty good match. I mean, it would have benefited from a little bit more time. Particularly being a TV special rather than a PLE, there were a lot of commercials and a lot of commercials through the matches. So this was one of them that felt like it could have used a little bit more time, or less commercials. Um, but Mia Yim and Chelsea Green both were in there. Both were, you could tell, so excited to be there, to be getting some spotlight. A couple sloppy moments, but nothing huge. And the effort that both women put forth was really noticeable. And Chelsea Green won, first ever women's United States champion. That was the right call, in my opinion. Chelsea Green is an absolute gem, and her ring gear had her own face on it. It was hideous, but at the same time, it was hilarious, and it was perfectly Chelsea Green. I loved Lillian Garcia absolutely trying to do the Samantha Irvine entrance with the way she calls her voice. Lillian Garcia is a legend as well. She's great. She's no Samantha Irvine. No one ever will be. I think she's, the best to ever do it. She gives Tony Chimmel a run for his money. She gives, Howard Finkel a run for his money. Samantha Irvine was great. Love Lillian, but I miss Samantha. That being said, hate Alicia Taylor. Her voice is deep and raspy, and it's awful. It's awful. It's so distracting when she's there instead of Samantha Irvine. Anyway, I digress. I'm moving away from the match. Chelsea Green, Mia Yim. It was good. I liked the finish as well. She did the Unprettier, but it was almost like a sunset flip on Prettier. So it was pretty cool. There was also the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. That was Daring General Gunther versus Finn Balor versus Damien Priest. This match had a very specific way it needed to go as well, based off of the storytelling building up to it, and it went exactly the way it was supposed to, right? Ever since taking a loss to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, Gunther has felt, a half a step behind. He's felt like something's been missing. He's felt a little less than dominant. And it was part of the storytelling building to Survivor Series. Damien Priest was calling him out for that as well, but it was noticeable. It was not just storytelling, it was very noticeable, and it was a perfect blend of reality and storytelling, the way that only the WWE can do. And last night, there was a very dominant, very emphatic victory as he put both Priest and Balor out of the title picture, hopefully out of the title picture. And the very dominant showing, a very dominant victory. He didn't just slip in and steal a win. He was in the action pretty much the whole time. He was pretty much switching back and forth between the two of them as they kind of stepped away from the action. So he came out of this looking really good, and sort of, I think this was a huge step in sort of reviving that aura. So I'm excited to see what's next for him. Hopefully it's nothing to do with Damien Priest and Finn Balor. They can move on. They can finish their feud if they want to. Probably should have at least one more big blow-off match, whether it's at the debut on Netflix or the Royal Rumble. But it's about time that they move on from each other as well. If they have a, transfer window, which they've kind of hinted at, right? Braun Strowman showed up and he transferred to SmackDown or whatever it is, instead of waiting till after Mania to do the draft like they normally do. Netflix wants some superstars switched up. They want certain superstars on Raw since they're going to be hosting Raw. It would be a great time to split the two of them up. But we can talk about that later. I'll make another video about that later. I want to talk about the final match of the night, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes came out with the Winged Eagle Championship in a really cool moment. It was a one-night only sort of thing. It was a really cool moment. Jesse the Body went from sort of analyzing in between the matches to being on commentary, as I mentioned in the beginning. So that was really cool. It added a lot to this match. It really added a lot to this match. And the storytelling was phenomenal here. Coming out of this match, you don't know if Kevin Owens is the good guy or the bad guy. You don't know if Cody Rhodes is the good guy or the bad guy. There's a very legitimate argument to be made that Kevin Owens has done nothing wrong. He was betrayed by his friend who teamed up with his enemy. We've all been there. Of course you're not going to like your friend if they go hang out with your bully. You know what I mean? You're not going to like your friend if they hook up with your ex. There's certain things that you just don't do to a friend, and Cody Rhodes did that to Kevin Owens. On the flip side, if you're a Cody fan, there's a reason, a very reasonable argument to be made that Kevin Owens is overreacting. So the line here is blurred, and that's really cool. The finish completely added to that, right? The finish saw Cody Rhodes use the crossroads onto a steel chair. Cody Rhodes did that, not Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes did that. So that adds, a new wrinkle as well. This story is just getting rolling. I think we're going to see them face each other again at least one or two more times. And it'll probably evolve into Randy Orton coming back, into Randy Orton feuding with Cody and or Kevin Owens at the same time. And then eventually Cody versus Randy without Kevin Owens there. Hopefully at Mania. That's probably the direction for Mania. It probably should be the direction for Mania. But yeah, that was Saturday night's main event, and I had fun watching it, guys. I don't know what you thought, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. Yeah, a little bit of extra time would have gone a long way. A few less commercials would have gone a long way. But all things considered, really fun event. Worth checking out if you haven't. Especially only being 2 hours. You definitely can get through it. And there isn't even a single match that I would say, you can skip that one. Each and every one of them brought something special to the table and was worth checking out. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Saturday night's main event. And if you're excited for the debut of Raw on Netflix, the Royal Rumble, things are really kicking into gear now, guys. So we'll be making a lot of content, and let's go. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.